Hi, everyone. Welcome to our Battenkill Community Zoom for the month of May. And with me tonight is Hatice Howard, our marketing director.
Hello, hello.
She and I are delighted to share with our customers opportunities each month. And as you'll recall, we've been almost for the last year talking with customers about trends we've seen, services we can add, and much more on these monthly Zoom calls. If you're watching this recorded, no worries. The only thing you can't do is, of course, ask any questions, but if you are watching recorded, feel free to write to Hannah or me with your questions. In the past, we've talked about labeling, branding, yarn weights, doing business with yarn stores, working with designers. And many of our customers have asked us about having things made on knitting machines for resale at farmers markets, at festivals, at farm stands, or on their websites. And by far, our single most popular knitted item is, for lack of a better term, the Brooklyn beanie, which has really done well for our customers. Even those who are a long ways from Brooklyn have done really well with this garment, the Brooklyn beanie. And so our guest tonight is the person who makes the Brooklyn beanies for us in her factory in Queens, not in Brooklyn.
We are on the border.
So this is Hatice, who with her husband Robert own Simply Knitting Mills on the border of Brooklyn in Queens. And I'm just delighted that you agreed to join us this evening and share a little bit about what you do there and what you offer. And also, we'd love to hear a little about your background. Like, how did you come to be in Queens, New York? A minute ago, before you all joined, Hatice was talking about her last visit up to the mill. I was at Maryland Sheep and Wool. I missed her. But anyhow, she said it reminded smelled the same as her father's mill in Turkey, which, wow, I think that's a compliment. I'm not sure, but I'm going to take it as. And so go ahead, Hatice, and say hello and tell us a little about you and Simply Knitting Mills.
Hi, everyone. Hatice here from Simply Knitting Mills. My husband is busy working right now, making the programs I gave him earlier, so he's not with me. We are located in Queens, on the border of Queens and Brooklyn. This is a small factory. We have 5 stole machines here. My story, my background, I'm Turkish originally. I came to States for my master's degree, which was in political science, nothing to do with textiles. But both Robert and I come from textile background families. My father was in home textile in Turkey, in Istanbul, in 80s, 90s. He had a huge factory when the business was really good. So when I came to your factory, Mary Jean, that smell definitely took me back to, I didn't spend so much time in my father's factory. I was, small, young back then, but I visited, quite a few times. And as soon as I entered, I told Robert, oh my God, this is like exactly like my father's factory, the smell, the noise, and everything. So it was nice, just taking me back there a little bit. I came for my master's degree, but I end up not doing what I study. Still, even though I enjoy reading a lot, I met Robert through work, and we kind of end up together and started doing this together. We used to do cotton sew sweaters, which we would only knit panels for the cotton sew sweaters, which would be more like low end retail garments. So there was like so much waste and everything. And over the years, business has changed a lot. So we had to change gears. And when we visited Stall a couple times, we saw these fully fashioned knitting machines, which we were really intrigued by, because there's no waste. Everything knits to the size and shape. The only time we waste yarn is during the development stage, which you have to do kind of multiple samples to get the spec right, to get the hand right, the washing right, the shrinkage and everything. Other than that, once the sample is done, there is absolutely no waste. So which was like, we really like the idea, making things that has no waste. So we, ventured into it, and it worked for us, and here we are. And we had no idea all over the country, there are these brands, there are these people who wants to make things. It was a totally new world to us, because before we used to work with really big department stores, which the only thing they care is the price, the price, the price, not the quality, not the where it's coming from, where it's made, under what conditions, or who made the yarn and how much work went into it. They didn't appreciate that. So once we started doing this, it was really, really nice, and we really felt like this should be our contribution to the I don't know how to put it. Like there is this movement right now with the, being more sustainable, no waste, etc. And we saw that there's an opportunity for us to contribute to that. So here we are. Sorry, I'm a little nervous, maybe mixing up a little, but yeah. That's
Well, and I've had the opportunity to visit
yes.
the mill, which is just fascinating. The computer part of it takes up almost as much space as the stole machines. The
Right.
machines are just sort of like hand knitting machines, not hand knitting, but hand run knitting machines with like a nice dust shield over them and little holes where the coned yarn goes zipping down through. So they're just sitting there in a row worrying very quietly because they're all covered up. But the computer room is where all the programs are being made. The other thing that I noticed about, and you may not notice it yourself, is not only how quiet it is, but how clean it is.
Thank you.
Because of this no waste. Everything it's just all just orderly little cones of yarn waiting their turn to be put on the machines. And it's not like an old dusty, it's very modern, sort of almost high tech. Well, it is high tech. Computers are telling these machines what to do, and the machine operators are just watching for a thread to break, never on Battenkill Fibers yarn, only on other. But so operators are just fixing things, but this is a Battenkill Fibers problem. It took us a while to train everyone to leave a real long tail on the ends of the cone. Are we doing better?
Definitely.
Good. I'll tell them you said it. Definitely. Because what happens, if you all think about it, when one cone runs out, you can't necessarily be right there to fix it up. And even if you are, you're going to have to splice it or knot it somehow. So if they have it preset, daisy chained one cone to the next cone, then it can keep running all on its own. But you need to give them a long tail.
Yes, that's how it goes. And we have a knitter watching the machines all day here. So when he sees a cone getting really small, he has the next cone ready to it. And as soon as the cone is finishing, he stops the machine, tie it up, and continue. It's pretty seamless. Yeah. And the yarn is definitely working much better. Thank you.
Good. And speaking of seamed and seamless, just to be clear for friends who are watching, the machine knits flat, like Hatice said, but it's shaped, even though it's flat, like the point of the hat, the program makes it come together to, I happen to have one here, the Brooklyn beanie, but it's been so successful.
Great.
So the shaping there,
Yes, it's the fashioning. Yes.
So there's no, the program does that,
Yes.
and it's flat knit. And then when it's all said and done, I turned it inside out. There
Mhm.
is the seam
Right.
where the
Right.
label is.
Yes, that's where Robert, this is what Robert does. He does this program install software in his computer. So it knits flat, but all that fashioning lines and the rib and everything, it puts into the program. It's like program gives the command to the machine what to knit, how to knit. So those fashioning lines on the top, that's how it's created.
And that's why it's economical,
Absolutely.
because you don't have any yarn that you, when it's you guys' farms and you're paying me to make the yarn, you
Mhm.
don't want half of everything you paid to have made end up knitted, cut off, and thrown out.
Yeah.
You want every drop of your yarn used, and that's what that does by not having to make the old-fashioned way, which was just
Right.
this tube and
Right.
doubling the tube up and sewing it and throwing away all the waste.
Right. So in this, when we do these beanies, what we do is every time I receive a new yarn from you, since every wool knits a little bit different, we have to do a little bit adjustments. So what we do is first we run one test piece and then check the specs and the hand wash everything. If it's good, then I give okay to knitting, and then Robert just run out the yarn. If it's not good, then we do adjustments. Sometimes we need to go a little tighter in tension. Sometimes we need to go a little looser depending on the yarn. We might need to change the specs sometimes, adding a little bit length or shorten it, etc. And then we make one more test, and if it's good, it runs. We never waste yarn. Once the sample is good, we knit everything in the box that comes in.
One thing I like about this design we settled on is if people want it really slouchy, we
Right.
can add another inch or two.
No problem. Super easy.
And if they don't want it to roll, see,
Like,
it's seamed this whole way. They don't have to have it roll. They can just put it on. I have a thing in my hair. It can put it
yeah,
on without
that's
rolling
it.
and be
Exactly.
really slouchy.
Right. Looks great. It was very smart to develop few styles like that in that yarn, because it's much easier and much faster, because now we know what works for the yarn, what stitches work, what gauges work. So it was very smart on your end to develop few styles for these yarn, because you know what, you know how yarn runs. And so we have it ready. We don't have to do, the only thing we do is just one or two test pieces and we're good. We don't have to do reprogram, every time we receive yarn. So that makes things a lot faster. That's why I'm able to put, like when you ship me yarn, I'm able to put into work right away with no wait.
Yeah, the longest wait is the labels sometimes.
Yeah.
But this is a really nice touch. She sews in.
Mhm.
We have a standard design for our label, and it just says cold wash, lay flat to dry, made in USA, 100% wool, very generic. And then she can sew that in. We have customers who have a faux leather
Yes. We.
square made, and it goes right over there, and that's a nice look.
Mhm. Absolutely. They are very warm. I have one pair. Very warm.
Yeah, I don't wear a lot of hats because I have a lot of hair, but this winter there were a few days it was really cold, and
Mhm.
I wore mine too, and I loved it.
Yeah, that's great. Happy to hear that.
Let me grab the that alpaca. Do you have one by you, or should I go look for that alpaca hat?
I don't have one
I'll
here.
grab it.
Okay, you look for it and I'll ask a couple questions.
Okay.
So I know that that we do the beanies, but I know that you can do a lot of other things too. And we have been looking at your website and you've got such beautiful garments. How does the design process work? For example, if one of the folks here on the call wanted to design their own special piece, what's the timeline on that and how does that process work?
Usually sample developments about 3 weeks from the time I receive the yarn and tech pack. And tech pack gives us all the details customer wants: the length, the width, the stitch, gauge, color. Sometimes designers comes in with some inspirational other sweaters or pictures, sketches, etc. And then once I gather all that information, understand what exactly customer wants, and then I translate that to Robert to work on the program. So the sample process always starts with swatching. So we would make these 2 or 3 different tension swatches with the yarn in the gauge that customer wants. And then once customer pick which tension they like, usually it goes with either, depending on the stitch and the gauge, we do like tighter tension, regular tension, and a little bit loose. This, depending on the style, customer picks one, and then it takes us another week or so to complete the development. The most important thing is, we all know that first sample never comes out good. There's always some changes to be made. Even, no matter how much you calculate the shrinkage, how much you count the stitch count, etc., there's always a second sample. So usually it takes us 2 samples internally, meaning my second sample here is the first sample customer is fitting. And then after they fit, we make another one with some, minor changes, revisions, and that would be their final sample. From there, they decide if they want to go to production. We calculate the yarns together, how much they need, how much, production would take, pricing, of course, the whole, costing. That's how it goes usually. Designers comes with their own, ideas, and we turn them into actual, samples and sweaters.
That's so cool. And for those of you who haven't been able to visit the Simply Knitting website, when you do get a chance, you'll go on and you'll see that she's done cabled sweaters and really lightweight textured garments and all kinds of really diverse garments, anything that you can think of that would be a knit. You guys have done something in that range. So it's really neat to see the versatility. And what's cool about the arrangement that we have at Battenkill is that Mary Jean and you have been working together long enough that we kind of know what kind of yarn works. Yeah. So that helps a lot.
Yes, definitely. It was at the beginning, we had this period that she would need my feedback to make the yarn better, like works better on the, because these are power machines are quite different than hand knitting machines. They have more, powerful and knits faster. So yarn has to be more sturdy. So at the beginning, it was breaking often, things, cone wouldn't run all the way. So luckily we, addressed those problems, and right now, no issues at all. It runs perfect, washes very good, which is very important when you do production, that yarn needs to wash and dry consistent. Imagine, because we were making, let's say 50 pieces, right? I prefer small size washing machines because I don't like to wash everything at once, because in case something goes wrong, I like to have some pieces saved. So I usually wash them like 5 or 8 pieces at a time. So it is very important that yarn quality should be good, that your production comes out very consistent. Because if you have, let's say, 8 pieces of size small, and if they each specs different, you're in trouble. I'm in trouble. So yarn quality comes into picture there, that Mary Jean did a great job. So we are very happy with the yarn we are receiving. Like it knits with no issues, and production usually goes very smooth.
So I couldn't find that alpaca hat. I think I must have sold it to somebody. So we'll find a picture of it and share it someday. I'm sure we've got a picture anyhow, and it was a super cute little pattern. And so Elaine, who you can't see as her camera's not on, has a pack of yarn like crazy and in some nice charcoal colors. The ones we made, I think, were fawn and cream. And they sold well for our customer, but I think that dark gray in that ribbed texture would be very, so the ribs don't go this way. I'll give you guys that much of a clue. The ribs go around. They're bands of ribs that way.
Cute.
Yeah, see, Hannah approved. It's super cute. Yeah. So how about a sweater? What do you have there you could show us?
Okay, so we have, I'm going to show you a few things, like some texture stitches. We have one style in work right now. Some stripes and some maybe intarsia. And I also have a really nice cable sweater here, cable swatch here. So this is, we call this bubble stitch.
Oh.
Do you see the texture?
Oh, that's beautiful.
Really
Right?
nice.
So we are doing this for a brand in Canada. They are really, their whole philosophy is based on sustainability and zero waste, and everything they do is really great. This is what we have in work for them. This is a crew neck garment. This is called crew neck. This is on 7.2 machine on 7 gauge. This is 100% merino wool. It's Italian yarn. Sleeves are like this. This is a tubular cuff. It's double meaning, you see, it is like double here, but then it goes into single when you switch to the sweater in knitting. So this is really great. It's super warm. It's like a thermal stitch sweater. So it's like, I have one of this I wear when I ski because it keeps really warm. It's a great underlayer, great base layer. We have another one here. This is stripe, just an idea, like the sweater I'm wearing.
Oh.
This is cute, right?
Love the funnel neck, that
Yes.
rollover neck.
Yes, it's really, really cute. This is just hit the stores. It's from Molly Morecamp. You can find it online. We just shipped it. It has few different colors. It's amazing. It's 100% cotton. It's super lightweight. It's great spring and transitional piece. And you see, this is all jersey knits, like straight jersey knits, very plain. However, with the stripes and the neck and everything, it makes it really pretty. So we can mix two different colors in the future if any of your customers wants anything like that. So I have here a swatch that I made with the yarn you shipped me last year, Mary Jean.
Ooh,
Oh.
How pretty is this?
gorgeous.
Gorgeous, right?
Wow.
It
Yes.
looks like it would save me hours of knitting.
Yeah, these are very slow in knitting. I mean, on machines as well, it is slow. But when customer wants it, when have a design, we make it. This is actually inspired from the legend of Steve McQueen. It's fun. And I have one thing in work. This is for myself. I'm making. This is both stripe and intarsia. It's just a swatch.
Wow.
I'm making a 4th of July sweater for myself.
That would be cute.
So if you want one, DM me. So these are fun way of mixing colors. If you have, these are different stitch techniques. This is, stripe, and also this is these stars we inserted as an intarsia knitting, it's called. It's just independently, it just knits there and then switch to the next color as it's knitting. So these are just different stitch techniques.
I know there are so many things that machines can do that are not as easy for us to do by hand as well, like special tuck and lifted stitches
Yes.
that
Yes.
are exclusive to machine knitting, which is amazing.
Yes, it makes it a lot easier. I have another beanie here, which we made this also. I think I received the yarns from you, Mary Jean. This is a checker pattern.
Oh,
Cute.
that would be nice in the alpaca also.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is also nice.
That's what I was thinking.
Okay.
Yeah, Elaine, we can't see her, but we heard her. That would be very nice, Elaine. Maybe even a little more unisex than the one I lost.
Right.
'Cause a man could wear that,
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah. Yes, I think it could be unisex for sure. Yes. And then we have another beanie here. This is double layer.
Oh, I love that.
So outside is thermal stitch with just a little bit of rib here. And then inside is all jersey, plain jersey. So we knit this whole one piece, like jersey starts at jersey, goes into the rib, and then goes into the thermal stitch. And then one of my girls turns this into a beanie. We're just folding it and then just closing it on the top like this and ready to go. And here actually we did, for some customers, we add here little logo beanie in the front. When you wear it like this, here we go. And then your label comes here, somewhere here, if you have a logo label or leather patch or something like that. So it works great.
That one.
And again, this is super warm and nice and soft. So, and then I have here one small, very small cable. This is more plain than other one. But again, it is really fast on power machines to knit these patterns as opposed to hand knitting or hand knit machines. And then I think I had one more here. Excuse me for a second. I think I found, was this the alpaca beanie with it, Mary Jean?
We did. That looks like one that we did, doesn't it?
Alpaca, but I'm not sure if this was the yarn I received from you, but it's a similar beanie. This is just a little longer.
Yes.
Slouchy style you were talking about. This is that. This is like longer than what we made for you. Yeah. So, I mean, I have so many things here. Some I cannot share because they are still in the development stage. We don't show them till they hit the stores. But other than that, yeah, our website has quite a few pieces, which actually I need to update because it's been, I think, over a year now that I have new styles that I should add there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, what's on there is gorgeous. So for those of you watching, be sure to pop over. And if you're catching us on YouTube later, look in the comments. I'll have the link for you directly.
I have one last beanie here. This is We Make Kits. It's a similar beanie, similar rib stitch, but this is a coarser gauge. It's 3.5 gauge. It's a little bigger, you know, the ribs are wider. So that's what happens when the gauge, you know, gets bigger. This is done with, this yarn is speckle. So you see like little spots. This is from Donegal yarns from Ireland. They have really interesting wool. It's super warm again, like incredibly warm. And this is again for our customer in Canada. They need warm sweaters, obviously.
So one thing I wanted to talk about is the farm yarns that we get here, the wools, are not super smooth. There's shearing issues and differences in length from animal to animal, and all that can make the yarn thick and thin sometimes.
Right.
And so we can hide a lot of those fiber flaws with textured patterns.
Correct.
So stockinette, that's not what you call it. You jersey knit, you call it. That stitch shows all the flaws in the yarn.
Does, unfortunately. Yes, it does.
And so I try to steer my customers away from anything in plain jersey. One I really like is that thermal stitch, or you have moss stitch and seed stitch, and a
Mhm.
lot of those textured ones that really hide the yarn flaws.
It is, yes, it really helps with covering all those little imperfections. Yes.
The only real drawback is it uses a little more yarn and it makes a heavier garment.
Yes, that is true. It does use little bit more yarn. That is true. Yes.
Can you hold up that tan swatch that you made with some of our yarn? That was, yes. So folks who don't know the names of the stitches, see inside the big cables,
This
that
part.
no, the other ones, the big
Diamonds.
those things, though, that stitch inside there really hides a lot of flaws.
Yes, it does. This is honeycomb.
That hides a lot too.
It's called in hand knitting because we have these different terms for stitches, which first of all, I have no idea who names them. And when we get these, when I get the tech packs or like inspirational pictures, etc., the names are always different. So I have like few websites that I have to go find out what customer really means, because sometimes pictures are not so clear. And, I want to really understand what customer is looking for, the end product. So this is called honeycomb, but I'm sure it has other names. And these are like Aran cable, it's called. But again, I don't know, maybe little diamond stitch also it might be called. This on the side, this is just a regular seed stitch. Should I bring it closer to the screen if you can details?
Yeah, we can see it now. Thank you.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
That seed stitch, didn't we do a series of blankets for someone one time in just seed stitch?
Yes, I think we did have some blanket program with you, correct? I think it was it seed stitch or basket weave? I think it was maybe more like this. I'm gonna show you. This is in marl stitch, so you might not see the pattern really clear, but it was more
more like that. Yes, it was.
That's so nice.
Shirt. And this is, you see, it is marled, but yarn is not marled itself. We just mix it during knitting on the machine.
Oh.
The feeders on the machine, you just put, let's say this is using 6 ends of yarn. So it is 2 ends navy, 2 ends gray, and 2 ends natural. So it gives us this beautiful color, beautiful shade.
So Marianne, that's something to think about.
Right.
If you like that look with your colors.
Yes, because when the pattern is textured, when you mix in few colors, it mixes really nice. Not always 100% even, but let's say 90%. But when you do stitches like jersey, you cannot mix few colors because it is going to be very streaky. It is not going to mix well. You will see lines like stripes and etc. So when you mix the colors in texture stitches like this, it mixes much better, much evenly.
Those heavily textured stitches too are very they can be really arduous for just hand knitters, that back and forth and knit to the purl. So I feel like buying pre-fashion garments in stitches that we hate doing over and over is so appealing, like a fine rib or a heavily textured knit purl stitch for a baby blanket or a scarf. I mean, I don't think a lot of knitters want to sit and make a baby blanket that's all seed stitch, but they would buy one. And so these are definitely the types of items we want to get our customers thinking about looking at, are things that even knitters would look at and go, oh, wow, it would be better just to buy it. Because it comes in the same way, the message of sustainability and slow fashion that you're working towards, and the work that our farmers are doing, all together, you know, we could save the knitters some time too.
We had a question from Melissa.
Yeah, well, I have so many questions. And so I would love, Hatice, at some point, maybe to be able to visit, if that's possible.
I would love to hear.
Yeah,
Please.
I think your mill would be of a lot of interest to our program and to our students. And we're starting to graduate some really talented knitwear designers, and some of them are like looking around like, what do I do now? I don't have this machine anymore to use.
Oh,
What if I like it? And they're all like putting their work online and selling it. You know what I mean? So there might be one of them that like gets to the point where they might be ready to manufacture. So, but beyond that, but I just had one just technical question about the combining multiple ends of yarn together. Do you ever do plating?
Yes, we do.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, we do. Color plating. Yes, we do. I actually have something here I can show you, I think. You don't see my desk. The mess. Because it's
I have this nice background behind me, but the whole rest of the room is in chaos. It's just this little background right here.
Rest of my office. Because a lot of things in work at the same time.
It would also be it's useful to know like what sort of communication you have between designers, what sort of, that would be nice to be able to teach that, what sort of specific information goes into a tech pack. And
right.
And do you ever have like knit designers who might have their own, hand knitting machine, so they give you swatches and say, hey, this is what I'd like to do, this design.
Yes, I do have. This is how it goes. Usually when designers come to me, sometimes people are not familiar with apparel and not with sweaters at all. They want to get into it. So they have great ideas, but they don't have the tools to turn that into reality. So I often advise customers to find a knitwear designer to work together, because knitwear is really, really different animal. It is not like wovens or cut and sew that you get your pattern done, you pick your fabric, and your sample is going to be good. It is not like that. So you have to source yarns, you have to source stitches, you have to decide on the gauge. Then I give you swatch, then you have to decide which tension you're going to go with. It might be too heavy, it might be too loose, it might be too tight. So I always tell customers to work with knitwear designers, which I hope it's helping kids graduating from school. It's a work field for them. Also, as with these different stitches, it's every style is a different process for us as well, because it's a different customer. You have to understand what they want. So every development, it's a new thing. Even though I know the stitch and the gauge and the yarn and everything, the creative processes works different for everyone. So as for plating and other things, it depends on the yarn, depends on the gauge. It doesn't work with every yarn. It doesn't work with stitch. So development process is kind of where we find out these solutions or problems and how to move forward together to reach the image that customer has in mind. I am still thinking about the plating sample I'm going to show you. If you give me 30 seconds, I'm going to find it. Okay? Is that okay?
Yeah, go grab it.
Yes, by all means.
Okay. I'm here. I have just this tiny swatch. We just started this week. Do you see it close by?
There we go.
I'm going to stretch it a little bit so you see the two colors.
Oh.
Do you see it?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Is it like Is it like brioche? Yeah, it's like a 2-color brioche. It's double knitted.
This is full cardigan stitch, we call it.
Okay.
Front and back are same. This is not exactly the plaiting technique. It just happens, the stitch creates this itself when you put 2 yarns, but this plaiting looks like. And it could be on a different stitch as well. It could be on a jersey stitch, then the top is different color, the bottom is different color. Sometimes you do solid color, but just play the lycra to it.
Oh, is this
Color.
jacquard? Is this the same as jacquard?
This is not jacquard, no.
Okay.
Jacquard, no. Jacquard is different. I also have.
Is that a plated rib on the bottom though?
It is, yes, it is.
Yeah, okay,
Yes, yes.
yeah.
Oh, I love that look.
Yeah, plated ribs are so fun because they.
Am I
stretch
holding-
and you see the color.
You're holding it well, yes,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I really like that look. We have to find a customer that has a thin enough, soft enough yarn that we could do something like that with it. Because I think that would be so pretty in 2 natural colors, like a beige and a white, or a light gray and a darker gray, you know, something pretty similar to each other. That'd be amazing.
Yes, yes, I think it's a good idea.
This is so cool. So I think we're gonna close for questions. We're gonna let people ask questions here in a minute. But before we stop recording, I wanted to just remind those who are joining us later on YouTube that coming the night of is always better because you get to see the live questions, and there's talk before and after we begin recording that you're missing. If you're watching this and you're thinking, how do I get started? This seems like a lot. That's what we do. Just give us a call at Battenkill Fibers and we'll set you up. We'll get you going. We'll help you get started on this journey of producing actual garments, fully fashioned garments with your yarn, which is really exciting. I think a lot of people think this is unattainable and out of reach, but we're in New York. You guys are right around the corner from New York City, which is the fashion capital of the United States, but also maybe the world. Don't tell Paris I said that. So we've got the access. We're excited to help you get set up. We've seen so many inspirational things on tonight's call. And if you're watching and you're excited to get going, send us a message on our website, battenkillfibers.com, and we'll get you connected with the Hatice and Robert over at Simply Knitting Mills in Brooklyn, Queens adjacent. So thank you for joining us tonight, Hatice.
Thank you for having me. It was really fun.
Yeah, but stick around because we're going to do that question and answer.